welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So you've given us some really interesting material today. Our aim, like always, is just to pull out those key insights for you, nice and efficiently. Today we're looking at an episode from the English Speak podcast. It's called Weekend Vibes, and it's basically a chat between two people, Alex and Sophie.
Yeah, just a casual conversation.
Exactly. And our mission, I suppose, is to see how even this kind of everyday talk planning weekends, looking back on them, can actually, well, tell us quite a bit.
Right. About what we like, what different kinds of time off do for us.
And maybe even pick up some useful language tips along the way.
Definitely. It's surprising how much you can unpack from just, people talking about their plans. Personal preferences really come through.
Okay, so let's dive in then. How Alex and Sophie actually think about their weekends. The first thing that struck me was they plan really differently, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. You've got Alex, who seems, well, very intentional. He's got his weekend sorted by Thursday.
Yeah, that's organized.
It is. And this time, it was all about being active, wasn't it? A road trip, mountains, friends.
Hiking, bonfire, a cabin. And he even mentioned deliberately going offline, a digital detox.
Which says a lot. He's looking for that complete break, it seems. Change of scene, change of pace.
Yeah. And then you have Sophie. She seems much more, what's the word? Spontaneous.
Kind of go with the flow, maybe. Her focus was different, more self-care, like that spa day she mentioned.
Right. And then connecting with her friend over brunch.
So that contrast, it's really clear. Alex needing that planned escape, often away from his normal routine. And Sophie finding her recharge closer to home through, relaxation and seeing people.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Are you more of a planner, needing structure, or do you just like to see what happens?
Exactly. Which way do you lean? It's a good question.
So moving on from planning, their choices also kind of shed light on what activities they actually value.
Right. Yeah, that was interesting too. Alex, he talked about enjoying both the active stuff like the hiking, but also quieter things like reading. He mentioned he's reading biographies right now.
Oh, okay. So that mix, physical effort, but also that quiet, maybe more internal focus.
Exactly. It's that duality, isn't it? Engaging with the world outside, but also having time for reflection. Maybe the hiking actually helps him focus later when he reads. Who knows?
Could be. And Sophie, her values seem focused on, well, relaxation, obviously, with the spa.
And the social side, the brunch, connection.
And she mentioned reading, too, but fiction,
Right.
more escapism, maybe?
Possibly. So, yeah, their choices, they're like little windows into their personalities, you could say. What they need for balance.
Alex's mix of doing and thinking, and Sophie's blend of pampering and socializing.
Spot on. And, thinking bigger picture, these choices often link back to our broader traits, extrovert, introvert tendencies, perhaps.
Or just needing different things at different times to feel, well, okay.
Right. And let's not forget, they did briefly touch on the less exciting stuff,
Yeah. Laundry, cleaning.
the necessary evils. But even doing those things can bring a sense of order, can't it? Which can be quite calming in itself.
Oh, definitely. Getting your ducks in a row, as they say. It feels good. Okay, so they also talked about their idea of a perfect weekend.
Yes, their ideal scenarios. Again, quite different visions.
What stood out to me, though, was that even with those different approaches, they both seem to value calm moments.
That's a great point. For Alex, even after his big active day, the perfect weekend involved a cozy dinner and then a slow Sunday, brunch, maybe some creative stuff.
So that winding down after the energy, he needs that contrast.
Seems like it, that deceleration, that personal time.
Whereas Sophie's perfect weekend started calm, quiet Saturday morning, book, tea. Very different vibe.
Totally different starting point. Then maybe some shopping, a movie night, some more outward-focused things.
Right, and Sunday was maybe seeing family or a walk in the park. Still relaxed, but connecting.
So the activities themselves are pulls apart, really, but that undercurrent of needing those peaceful moments, that seems shared.
It really drives home how personal recharging is, doesn't it? What works for Alex might exhaust Sophie, and vice versa.
Absolutely. You really have to know yourself.
Which kind of leads nicely into their chat about reframing doing nothing.
Yeah, I like that bit. They both sort of agreed that those weekends where you just stay in or have a lazy weekend, they're not wasted time. They're actually really important for rest.
There's often that pressure, isn't there, to be busy, to be productive, even on your days off.
Definitely. Society kind of pushes that. So hearing them acknowledge that just stopping is valuable, that's quite validating.
It is. It makes you think, How often do we actually let ourselves just be without feeling guilty?
That's the key question, isn't it? Their chat helps normalize it. Doing nothing isn't unproductive. It's actually, well, essential sometimes for well-being.
Yeah, that's a really powerful reminder. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just stop. Recharge without the guilt trip. Okay, so shifting gears a bit. The conversation also gave us some really practical bits of language. English phrases for talking about weekends.
Yes. This is where the English Speak podcast really delivers. They gave a whole list of common phrases, things like, I went out of town for the weekend.
Right, which implies a trip, different activities.
Or simply, I caught up on sleep. Very relatable.
Definitely. And I had a movie marathon. So a relaxed inside kind of weekend.
I spent time with family. That focuses on connection.
Yeah, they covered a good range. Active ones like I went hiking,
Outdoors, physical.
to more chilled ones like, I had a chilled weekend. That says it all, really.
Or the very direct, I just relaxed and did nothing, which ties back to what we were just saying.
Exactly. These are phrases you hear all the time, things you can actually use.
And they also gave ways to ask others. The classic, how was your weekend?
Simple, polite, standard Monday morning stuff.
Or looking ahead. Got any weekend plans? Opens up the conversation.
It just shows, doesn't it, how talking about weekends is such a basic, easy way to connect with people.
Colleagues, friends. It breaks the ice.
And like they said, it's great English practice, low stakes, everyday chat.
Totally. That little role play they did, the Monday morning chat, made it feel really practical.
Yeah, I brought the phrases to life. Okay, and then finally, they wrapped up by brainstorming some general weekend activity ideas.
Right, a list of suggestions. What I liked was the variety. Something for everyone, really.
Yeah, it wasn't all extreme sports or complex hobbies. You had hiking, nature walks,
But also trying a new recipe at home? Or visiting a museum?
catching up on TV, reading a book you've been meaning to start, simple pleasures,
Calling a friend, having a picnic, trying yoga?
a mini home project, exploring a new cafe. 10 pretty accessible ideas.
And that's the point, isn't it? They're starting points. Reminders that even small things can make a weekend feel better, more fulfilling.
It's like a little nudge to be a bit more mindful about our free time, maybe. Not just let it drift by.
Yeah, think about what would actually bring you joy or help you recharge.
So, wrapping up this deep dive then, it's pretty clear that this simple chat between Alex and Sophie, it actually revealed quite a lot.
About personal time, different needs, preferences, and how we talk about it.
It really highlights how unique recharging is for each of us.
Right. And Sophie actually ended by asking the listener directly, didn't she? So what are your weekend plans?
Yeah, which leads us perfectly to our final thought for you listening.
It really boils down to this. What does your ideal recharging weekend look like? Honestly.
Forget what you think you should be doing. What actually leaves you feeling rested, ready for the week? Is it action-packed or super quiet?
Knowing what you need, downtime, connection, activity, just plain rest. That's so key for well-being, isn't it?
Absolutely fundamental. So maybe as you think about your next weekend, consider what that looks like for you. And hey, maybe try describing it, even just to yourself, using some of those phrases Alex and Sophie talked about.
It seems simple, talking about weekends, but there's a surprising amount of insight packed in there about how we value our time.